We're here today to talk about the new Carryall product. We're talking about the cab installations and how we're having some issues out in the field with water intrusion. And a lot of the complaints that we've been having is water coming around the dash and fender area, puddling on the floor. And we want to talk through how to mitigate that water intrusion. And so this area right here is a large leaking point for the water to come down the fender. And to help remove that water intrusion, you're supposed to add this butyl tape into this corner. Make sure you get all the gaps filled, and you come around here and you fill out this nice area here before you put the cab on, because this is the area where the cab seals onto the vehicle, and we need to have that worked out at the beginning, and this will help remove the water intrusion over top of the fender. Continuing the leaking and water intrusion around the fenders, we want to talk about how to mitigate the water from intruding behind the fenders this time. So you remove the front cowl and you look in this area right here. You can see where the butyl tape has been added from the other side, and now we're going to run a line of butyl tape down that corner. So you take your butyl tape and you need to get up in this area where my finger is, and you need to fill up this gap. Match up with the butyl tape from before and run it along this area here. And you want to make sure that you get all the little nooks and crannies here to keep the water from finding a leak path. Once you add this in, this will remove the water intrusion from behind the fender. We've just done the butyl tape on both corners, and now we're looking at the middle of the dash. We've been having some reports of water condensation filling up in this area and allowing water to then leak between the Z section and the dash. So how to mitigate the water from getting into there? You need to add some butyl tape in these areas, and this is to help keep the water from getting into the floorboard area in behind the dash. You want to make sure before you're doing it to remove all the dust and debris, and just fill in this section both here and over here, and that will help keep that condensation from dripping into your cab through the fenders and the dash. Here we're to talk about the rear window installation, and pre-installing it we're supposed to add butyl tape in these two corners. If you don't do it before the rear window is installed and try to do it afterwards, it seems to not do as well as if you put it on at the beginning and do it right the first time. So what we need to do is put about an inch of butyl tape in this area and work it around, feathering it out to the sides to allow the rear window to seal well on both the metal and the butyl tape, and then also on the bottom here. And this will help keep water from coming in around the rear window and coming down this pillar of the frame and getting the cab wet in the back. We're here now to talk about the front windshield and adding butyl tape in this area for both the roof as well as the windshield. This is part of the frame installation instructions, and we're supposed to add butyl tape in this area where there's a gap. And if we don't do this before, once again, you cannot get a great seal if you're trying to put it in after the fact, after the front windshield's been installed. So this area we need to as well feather out to help the transition for both the roof seal as well as the front windshield. And so as you feather this out, you want to make sure there's no holes or gaps, and now the roof and the windshield seal can seal right along that line, and water won't come down the frame here, down the A-pillar into the vehicle. We're here today to talk about the installation of the roof and the D-seal, and the reason why we're talking about this is we've been having issues out in the field of roofs leaking, and we've come to realize that some people out in the field are cutting the D-seal and having straight lines on all four corners, and what we're trying to explain here is that this D-seal is not supposed to be cut. It's supposed to start from right here and have one continuous piece all the way around the top of the roof area. And so we'd like to talk about the D-seal and how it's installed. So we're starting here on the D-seal for the roof, right above the center of the rear window, to be the starting and stopping point for this D-seal. And as we approach the edges, we don't want it to come around in a long swooping manner because there's going to be a gap here allowing water to come in. So we need to come down and have a sharp edge right at this location to allow for a good seal across and then come up this. So I'm going to take this off to allow that to happen. Stick it in there and start coming up the sides, making sure that that's all sealed in there. Now we're coming up the side frame in this channel here, not sticking to this, but sticking down on this area. We're going to keep the D-seal as close as possible to this, not gapping in this area. If it gaps too far on this area, water can potentially come down and come in the back area here. So we're going to keep it as close as possible and work our way to the front. So we work on bringing the D-seal to the front of the vehicle, holding to this side of the channel. And as we did in the back, we don't want to swoop and have an area for water to come through. We need to be tight again. So we're going to bring it in tight, getting it to be a part of the D-seal into the butyl tape. And here we're wanting to run along the upper section of this channel here and run it along the top. And as you do that, there's going to be a little excess, and that you will cut off. Right now we're talking about the installation of the roof over the D-seal, and in the front we have had some issues with water leaking in the front area of the roof, and we've realized from the field that people were installing it with about a 1/2 inch, 10-inch gap between the windshield and the roof, which allowed for water to leak by. The farther back it is, the worse it is for the roof and potential leaks. You want to bring it in to be around a 1/4 inch away from where the windshield is, and bolt it down in this location, starting from the center and to the outer 2 points. And then moving to the back, you tighten down the center by pushing down here, tighten this bolt, and then tightening both the right and left hand side, holding it down. And this will keep you from having a leak in the roof. We've been hearing issues out in the field of water leaking through the windshield wiper into the compartment, and what we found out is that people have been using this bracket, the spacer, that's not supposed to be used on the tempered windshield. We have updated our instructions so that they can be clearer, that this is not to be used on this type of windshield, and with it not being installed, the windshield wiper will not leak. If you have any more questions, look at the updated installation instructions, or any more support, please call our tech support.